Asymmetrical multiplayer horror experiences have become something of the norm in video games over the past 2 generations. From taking on Jason Voorhees in Friday the 13th the game, to facing a Pigman from the Saw franchise in Dead by Daylight. Tackling fearful foes alongside friends and strangers alike is truly exhilarating. But before those aforementioned experiences, developers saw the potential in the asymmetrical online multiplayer genre as gamers know it today, being carried by another grand horror franchise, Aliens. For better and for worse, Aliens games delivered some unique moments and unintentionally set the stage for what was to come in the near future. Now the Aliens franchise is playing catch-up by bringing 3 players together in hopes of destroying xenomorphs aplenty, while upgrading weapons, skills, and difficulty levels. There was definitely a level of intrigue to see if Aliens Fireteam Elite had what it took to stand out in a very crowded field, or if it would falter and simply be completely forgettable. Gamers take control of customizable mercenaries sporting various weapons, tools, and class-specific abilities, with said skills being complemented by perks that can be both unlocked as the player levels up thanks to experience points gained via completing game sessions, and bought in-game with currency earned by playing said missions. Without the ability to play as one of the special xenomorphs in hopes of taking out the player-controlled colonial marines, a la versus mode in the Left 4 Dead games, there isn't much to do from a mode perspective. There are only 12 campaign missions that can be completed at one of 5 difficulty levels. The 2 hardest difficulty levels are unlocked after the player finishes all 12 under the first 3 difficulty options, and a horde mode that, as of this time, only features 1 map. After a little over 8 hours, I finished the campaign on standard difficulty, featuring a mix of both random human players and AI bots as my partners. My time with Horde mode lasted a little over an hour, with my teams rarely making it past Wave 8. The trophies are really grind heavy in this one, including killing 10,000 xenomorphs and obliterating 1,000 of the human-style adversaries known as synths. There are also some luck-based trophies like no one taking friendly fire damage in an intense difficulty level mission. Considering the timing of this game's release and a lack of content, there definitely won't be a platinum trophy completed. Aliens Fireteam Elite is built around the premise of a 3-person team looking to blast their way through an abandoned facility now overrun by xenomorphs. Players will have multiple objectives that show up one at a time while mowing down the acid-spitting, face-hugging, sneakily jumping aliens doing their best to stop their latest intended prey. Most of these mission moments boil down to moving through an area, pulling a switch, pressing a button, or attaining a certain object that sets off a series of attacks from mounting xenomorph forces, before reaching the end point where players are given stats about how well they performed. The main variables are the adversaries the fireteam will encounter, and the classes of said marines chosen by the players. The latter offers players one of 4 classes to initially choose from, with another class unlocking after completing all campaign missions once, and others that will be patched in via updates. Each class is unique not in terms of stats like health or defense, but abilities and loadout options. Playing as a Demolisher will offer players the opportunity to handle weapons like grenade launchers or flamethrowers when said items become available thanks to the raising of the character's class level, and spending the currency earned by completing missions. Thankfully, there are no transactions in this one. A Recon class character will specialize in sniping enemies, while the Technician can be more than tactical by using an explosion-inducing shotgun at close range. What really makes these character classes different is the fact each has 2 special abilities that cool down after usage. The aforementioned Demolisher class can shoot homing rockets at enemies that, when hitting grunt enemies, presents a one-hit kill scenario, while doing major damage to the more ferocious beasts, like drones, who appear out of nowhere, pounce for a quick series of hits, and scurries away to do it again until the player kills the creature. Technician players have the ability to set up a sentry turret for long-range attacks if they see fit. Thanks to special perks that are both unlocked as the player levels up a class and bought in-game, certain abilities can be changed, including the Technician's turret being turned into a flamethrower. Some class-specific perks are universal, meaning that the player can switch classes and still use one of the perks from a previous class in their new class's skill grid. Weapons can be customized as well, including adding attachments earned from completing missions, purchased via the in-game shop, and discovered courtesy of a hidden resource cache placed in every map whenever the player takes on a mission. Weapons also have a leveling system, earning experience points when the player completes a mission. The higher the weapon level, the better the automatically assigned perks permanently connected to that weapon are, such as a Demolisher's Pulse Rifle gaining 5% better fire rate at level 3. But all the customization means nothing if the gameplay isn't fun. Thankfully, Fireteam Elite provides adrenaline-pumping action featuring holding off xenomorphs and taking on synths in firefights. Courtesy of some fantastic level design, players will go from the claustrophobic factory environments to open areas perfect for cover shooting when trying to avoid being sniped by synths. Back to enclosed arenas where creatures come out in mass more than before. As the missions progress, so do the enemy variations, including a long-range spitter that loves to stay behind cover and slings acid to pepper marines. Prowlers usually hang behind corners to pounce on an unsuspecting fireteam member for a resulting bit of damage that can be hindered by a quick-time event or the marines' teammates shooting said prowler. There is the tease of taking on a mother xenomorph in the final mission, but the players have to run from it instead of taking on the fierce creature. Special or elite xenomorph appearances are actually randomized, forcing the player to stay on their toes at all times. Something to complement the action is challenge cards. These challenge cards can be chosen before a mission and add certain stipulations to missions that, when completed, can multiply up to 2 times the amount of experience points post-mission. But these challenges can be pretty daunting, including not taking any damage during a mission or landing 50 headshot kills on synths. Card packs are only earned by purchasing them in the in-game shop and completing daily challenges that usually feature 3 small grind requirements, such as completing a trio of missions as a gunner class character. Challenge cards only have one-use options, meaning the player must really believe they can succeed if they want to add said stipulation. Technically, Fireteam Elite is definitely a budget title. Some NPCs can be interacted with, but have no lip syncing associated with their speeches and exposition dumps that are performed well enough. Connectivity in this online multiplayer game is both commendable and unpredictable. Depending on the server's stability and human allies' internet connection, most missions will run smoothly enough, but there will be times when stuttering and frame rate drops occur. Other instances may see the player get disconnected from their human teammates, resulting in the game replacing the human players with AI bots. The AI teammates are fine for standard or lower difficulties, where they can simply shoot enemies and revive the fallen human player. But against xenomorphs past standard difficulty, the AI bots are pretty much fodder. Graphical and sound glitches will be pretty jarring, including the sound completely dropping out other than the background music during the first campaign mission, and a section of the map refusing to load, forcing the team to fight on an invisible surface where the players have no idea where the barriers are. And then there's the lack of options in Horde mode, where the players are pretty much doing the same thing they were in campaign missions without the story or walking through a map to break up the action. Aliens Fireteam Elite embraces the wildness of shooting down numerous alien enemies, not the atmospheric horror of its source material. What Fireteam does, it does well, including presenting different xenomorphs and class customization options, but it feels all too similar to what's been seen in other games before it, without really innovating. That really depends on if you're craving a solid third-person online multiplayer shooter that really doesn't feel incredibly unique other than the license being used. The enemy variations and class options make it enjoyable to play around and try out different missions and strategies, but there's only so much anyone can do. Technical issues including lost connections during a hectic mission do exist. Yet with all of that, the game is still incredibly fun in short bursts. For the initial asking price of $40, this game is reasonably priced. Unfortunately, Fireteam also feels like something that not only will get a price cut sooner than later, but will also suffer from a drop in the player base. meaning it will become difficult to get random human players for harder missions where AI bots are useless. If Fireteam sounds appealing, now is the time to pick it up unless you have two dedicated friends who will be with you for the campaign's entirety at a later date. Players on the opposite end of the spectrum may just want to skip past this one, like a Marine deciding it's best to run and fight another day instead of taking on a gigantic mother xenomorph that seemingly doesn't know which way to go.